Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. All right, well, we're going to get started. Thank you all. All right, I think we're ready. We're going to get started this morning. Thank you all for coming today. It's always an exciting time. We can kick off our year with strategic planning, something that County Council, Administrator Brown, and staff have been committed to. And it's always good to start our year off right and continue to focus on those things that will help grow and make Richland County better. I do want to, again, thank y'all for coming, but take some time to remember a special member of our Richland County family. This time of year is time where staff and council get together and we plan, and there is a special member that would always be with us that is not here with us this year. And I would like to have a moment of silence to remember and recognize Chief Deputy County Attorney Elizabeth McLean. Thank you. Attorney McLean was a special part of the Richland County family, and I know we all together, while we're here for the next 2 days, have special fond memories that we can always think about her and how she made us laugh. I was just talking with some of our council members last night about the last year's strategic planning forum, and a great memory that I had with Director McLean, our first arrival night here, as we sat and had dinner and talked. And so I hope you all find fond memories of her today while we're here planning for the county. Also want to take a moment to recognize two of our very new council members who are attending their first strategic planning forum. That deserves a round of applause. Welcome, Councilwoman Little and Councilwoman Aileen. Thank you so much for joining us, and we're excited to work with you all this year. So we all know the coming here for our strategic planning forum is a key part of Richland County and how we do our planning. We began 3 years ago with a new strategic plan that this body worked to identify key areas of interest that we wanted to improve within Richland County. And we've identified goals and objectives and have even launched a dashboard focused on our strategic planning goals. Those goals many have started. We have implemented and achieved some of them. And there are some that we have not began, but continue to work on and plan for in the future. So the strategic planning today is to be able to take another look at goals that are currently in our strategic plan and how we can begin to implement those and continue to make sure that we're moving along in the plan that this body agreed upon. Last year, we had amazing successes as a whole. One of those is the passing of our new transportation penny sales tax program, which this body worked very hard to make sure that citizens were educated and informed on the penny. And so that also was a key initiative in our strategic plan, making sure that we had infrastructure and a plan for the growth that is coming to Richland County. And so thank you to County Council, staff, and to residents and voters of Richland County who helped support that initiative so that we could achieve that goal in our strategic plan. Another major success from 2024 was the approval of the Richland County P3. That was an economic development goal that was in our strategic plan. And thank you again to this body and staff making sure that that passed in 2024. And now as we go into 2025, it will continue to be a priority so that we can fully stand up that P3 this year and begin to also continue to look at additional strategic planning goals. So This whole session today and tomorrow is completely interactive and informal for us to exchange ideas and continue to grow upon that. And I'm thankful for all of you taking the time and being here. This is not the end of a conversation. This is truly the beginning for us to exchange ideas. And when we leave here and go back to Richland County, to continue to meet and work hard to achieve and expand upon those ideas and discussions that we've had here today. So I will turn it over now to Administrator Brown.
So good morning, everyone. For those of you in the front, apologize if I sound a little bit louder. I want to make sure I get everybody in the back as well. I can hear the white noise over here in the corner, and so we might not be as clear as we want to be. So in the back, I see some heads nodding, so it sounds like I'm on the right tone. Thank you, Ms. Mackey. I appreciate you sharing that as council chair. This year, we definitely want this process to be interactive. And so for some of you, I'm going to give you a little bit of history and change it up just a little bit from what I did in the last couple of years. But as you all know, there's always a protocol to be followed whenever you're facilitating. And so I'm going to start with the protocol, and then we're going to do something a little bit different and give us an opportunity to take a look back and maybe even get some feedback during the process. So again, good morning and welcome to all of you. For the past 5 years, I've had the honor and privilege to serve as the county administrator for Richland County. I've not taken this duty lightly, and I want to publicly thank Richland County Council, all of you, for giving me the opportunity to serve in my role. I want to affirm my commitment to you to serve the residents of Richland County in a way that allows them to have an improved quality of life. During my tenure, I've been blessed to work with a number of civic-minded, customer service-oriented, customer-focused public servants. And those individuals are represented by the executive cabinet team of department directors. Thank you, directors, for the work that you do. Thank you for your commitment to our citizens. A lot of times you are the front lines of our servitude. I want to thank our appointed and elected officials of Richland County, and I especially want to take a moment and thank my administration team. Many of you all know them, you talked with them directly, but I think it's important to always be able to recognize those who allow you to do what you do. Without their direct assistance, as well as those of the department directors, I would not be able to provide the level of service, both that I expect and that our residents demand, and that you, as council members, want us to live up to. I appreciate the work that you all do in serving the residents of Richland County and supporting my leadership efforts. I've often described the strategic forum as an annual council event that offers us an occasion to reflect on past decisions, to look at the works we've performed, and see the results that we've experienced. It provides a specific set-aside opportunity for us to analyze and learn from our past efforts, and better and yet more, to consider how best to serve the county in a strategic direction going forward. As you heard Council Chair Mackey say, overall, 2024 was another year of positive momentum and forward progress. Later on, you'll hear about the county's financial position. I want to tell you, we're in a strong financial position. You will have the opportunity to hear about capital improvement projects, those that we're working on, those that we've accomplished, and future needs, as well as discuss other opportunities that you have in mind. I want to let you know that we are in a good position to establish more direction as well as achieve more capital improvement projects. I can tell you that Richland County is solid. I can tell you that Richland County is strong. We've talked about throughout the year the investments that we've made to improve our communities, both our businesses, small and large, our employees, the investments we've made in public safety, and to improve the quality of life for residents. And 2024 has given us many accounts of which we can say it's been a positive year. But for the next few moments, I want to go back to 2019, 2020. Don't get scared. We won't stay there. We won't stay there. We're gonna come up. But if you could, I just wanted us to take a look at what we've been able to accomplish from a different prism or from a different perspective. And I thought it would be helpful if we go back to when I came in as a, let's just say, a freshman county administrator to Richland County, not knowing the community, not knowing the county at large, and just taking a look out and finding out what I thought was important for the county to do given what we had in place. So for some of you where you've seen this, bear with me. For those of you who haven't, I won't spend all the times. I want to make sure if you have questions, you can ask a few early this morning. But I do want to just kind of run you through a framework that I shared with County Council when I first got here at my very first strategic planning forum. And then I want you to see what's been accomplished and where we are now and why I thought that was important. So I'm going to grab this microphone and step away a little bit so I can see the presentation clearly. So one of the things that I did at the time was nobody knew Leonardo Brown. Why is that important? Because I had not been able to establish, whether or not the words that I would share, the service that I provide would be meaningful in the lives of the folks who gave me the opportunity. But many people know Stephen Covey, and they believe that the framework in which he provided when you talked about success and strategy and organizations, that they were good principles. And so I provided the county council at that time a view from my perspective through the framework of Stephen Covey. And I think some of those principles are still applicable on this morning. And so I want to share them with you. I won't read each of them for you because I know that you are all astute, but I will just point out some of the headlines. Habit 1, be proactive. One of the things that we have transitioned more into now than we've ever done before in my tenure here is looking at how we can actually take steps and move items, concerns, policies, challenges forward before they're placed on our table as a request. And so when we look at habit 1, being proactive is still important. Habit 2, begin with the end in mind. For all of you who know, anytime we talk about Richland County, we talk about serving who? The residents of Richland County. So when we talked about where we start with the residents who are our external customers, and we end with the residents who are our external customers. And so we focused on that, and we talked about at that time what the county's mission statement was. Putting first things first. It sounds simple, but we don't always do it. But we want to continue to focus on keeping the main thing the main thing. Think win-win. We have really, and you will see this as we kind of continue to go on and hear the successes of our organization, we have really taken a great leap forward when it comes to think win-win and how we work with each other as well as outside entities that deal with Richland County. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Here is an area for us as Richland County where we are continuing to try to build and improve upon. We definitely have some more work to do here, but we have made some positive strides. But this is one of those habits that we need to make sure we stay focused on. Habit 6, synergize. Just take a moment here. I want to highlight through trustful communication, find ways to leverage individual differences to create a whole that is greater than the sum of the parts. And I want to take a moment and read that part because as we continue to work well with each other, the way that works is when we develop the ability both to recognize that our individual differences can be a greater good if we leverage them. And you can only leverage them in the way Stephen Covey is talking about through trustful communication, being able to depend one on the other as how we communicate both, again, internally and externally. And then number 7, sharpen the saw. Now, County Council, this is in jest. It's very interactive this morning, but you have definitely worked on sharpening the saw of Leonardo Brown, all right? And I appreciate that because we are here both to, again, serve the residents, and we do that by both uplifting each other in our service as well as in our actions. So take the time out from the production to build production capacity through personal renewal, of the physical, mental, social, emotional, and spiritual dimensions, maintain a balance among these dimensions. This principle is listed when you take a look at our strategic goals under goal number 6, under operational excellence, where we talk about the investments that we're going to make and we talk about the people that we're going to invest in. So it's important that we recognize sharpening the saw is what will allow us to serve better here in Richland County. So this was our old Richland County mission statement, but what remains to be the same is improving the quality of life for the citizens and residents of Richland County. So how did I interweave this into what I shared with County Council at that time? In putting first things first, in order for us to do the things that we really want to do, we have to continue to have a fiscally solvent organization. We have to have good financial policy, which allows you the flexibility to take on the task that you want to achieve. We have a strong credit rating. We need to maintain that credit rating, and we've done that throughout these past years. We have a solid reserve fund. We have dipped into that fund to make big changes for the county, but we still want to maintain that solid reserve fund. A multi-year award winner for governmental financial accounting and budgeting. So Richland County, we talk about transparency. We talk about openness. We are recognized on an annual basis for these things. So when you hear people talk about Richland County and our financial acumen, you should feel proud because our organization has been and continues to be recognized for its financial policies and its fiscal behavior. Fiscal disciplines. Budgets should allow for flexibility, but limits should not be viewed as dynamic. If you don't mind, I'm going to say that again. I'm not preaching. Budget should allow for flexibility. Mr. Brown, can we do this? Yes, we can. But limits should not be viewed as dynamic. What does that mean? That generally means that when the council sets a budget, and the budget is $100,000, that budget does not automatically become $200,000. The funding that is placed there based on fund accounting is set. And so for us as department directors, as department leaders, it's important that as we try to create opportunities to serve for our community, that we also recognize that there are limits in how we do that. There are time constraints. So maybe not this fiscal year, but next fiscal year. So as I point out next, sometimes no, not right now is the right answer. Doesn't mean no, it means not right now based on some of the budgetary decisions. We can serve everybody pleasantly, but we can't please everybody. So does that mean that we're not cordial, that we're not kind, that we're not caring, that we don't bend over backwards? That is not what that is saying. That is saying as we try to serve, that we recognize it's important for us to maintain a caring and a customer service attitude, but it does not mean that people will ultimately be happy with the decision that you and I may have to make given that particular scenario. So again, I want to encourage you to remember to put first things first. Think win-win. So as you talk about thinking win-win, I want you to remember that Connecting Communities Initiative. Now, for those of you who don't know about this, back when I first got to Richland County, one of the things I heard from county council and some of the outside persons were that Richland County has strained relationships. And so since that time, even to this day, we've made huge strides. We've made intentional efforts in developing better relationships. For county council that went through the Census 2020 redistricting and redrawing, this council, you had fun, right? There was a process that only happens, right, every decade. So this council had a chance to go through a process that in the future is going to maybe be another different council. Maybe it'll be the same one, but there'll be somebody else also probably taking on that task. And so increased networking and collaboration efforts with overlapping and neighboring governmental organizations and community partners. And as you think about the strategic goals that are set out in our current 6 strategic goals, and you go back to 1920, look at those things and how we've put those things to work. And so I wanted to show you that Again, at that time, we really didn't know Leonardo Brown, right? What the work looked like. But look at where we have come in the coordinated effort that we made as a Richland County government. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. So here's where we kind of gotten a little tug of war. And in some ways, today, we're still having a little bit of tug of war. And that's the organizational development and culture for Richland County. At that time, I communicated to County Council and those that were in the meeting that I looked at our team. And from my assessment that I had done, that it looks like we had a relatively inexperienced mid-management and upper management. That we had folks who had at that time developed a lot of bad habits, but they also hadn't developed a lot of good habits. And so we used the parable of the fig tree to talk about what we would do to try to help nurture that environment. And the idea behind this is that you can take a look at the investment that we've made in training, that we specifically have been communicating to our teams. We want to make sure that you have the tools that you need, and we want to help lead that effort so that our experiences become good habits and that we change any habits that we have that are bad habits. And this is something as our organization that we're still going through now. And so in telling you this, it's not a shot across the bow. It's being able to assess and analyze and understand what we have left to do. And I'm really excited about the things that we have in store related to organizational development. We talked about synergize. I won't harp on that one. I will move to now 1920. So this was back when I first got here. So when I got here July 15th, 19. I got here July 15th, 2019. And 2019 to 2020 was my first, you got me, you follow me now, was my first year. Yeah, I know, I understand. That's why I say I'm taking you back. So, because some people weren't here at the very beginning to hear what was said, okay? So I started July 15th, 2019, okay? You went, okay? And so during that process, up until our first county council strategic planning meeting, at the time they called it council retreat, these are the things I had identified. And one of the things that I said then was strategic planning process, what I thought needed to happen. Need to have strategic initiatives and objectives, needed to build infrastructure literally and figuratively, and that our budgetary expenditures need to align with initiatives. Why am I saying that to you? Because what I've been trying to tell everybody is how synergized our county council is with our county administration. Part of the reason why Richland County has been able to receive a huge push forward is because of the synergy that we talked about in the previous habit. And that doesn't always happen. So I just wanted to take a moment to highlight that. Now, as we move forward to now with county council developing and then adopting a strategic plan, here are those strategic goals. So this was after the time frame that I first started. This was after we had a change over in council. And just look at, again, how the years went by and the county matured and how it was handling its business. So these are our current strategic goals. You see them all the time in your briefing documents. You hear us talk about them, and we're going to be doing it more and more as we go out the year. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. The departments are well aware of what this is. So county council, one day, when we come to a session, much like this one, where I'm doing a training, I would love to really walk you through what I'm telling our people as it relates to what happens when you can't remember all of the policies in the employee handbook. What happens when you're trying to figure out how to act on a day-to-day basis without additional guidance? This structure is what we hope to have for a complete employee that serves Richland County. So from the bottom to the top, we want all of these character traits. So as I get ready to wrap up this morning, I want to leave you with some thoughts that I think are going to be helpful going forward. So former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice said these things. When you look for the enabling condition, the condition that allows you to interface with someone to achieve what you're trying to accomplish, number one, be right with yourself. Number two, try to be an optimist. And number three, motivate people toward a common goal that seems impossible so that achieving the possible becomes the inevitable. And that's really what we want to do. There's going to be some big tasks that we take on that seem large, that seem like the county hasn't been able to do this for whatever reasons, but we are going to do it. This group, this council, this executive cabinet team, this county administration team, we're going to be the folks that help lead the county in this direction. Again, John Maxwell, this is his leadership equation. Add value to people every day, subtract your leadership landmines, multiply your strengths by developing them, and divide your weaknesses by delegating them. For those of you who have worked with me now for at least 2 or 3 years, you know that I don't have all the answers. I don't believe I have all the answers. I don't plan to have all the answers. I plan on using the trustful communication to synergize the individual differences that we all have to meet the goals of the county. You are all experts in your own right. Let's respect those levels of expertise and utilize them to push the county forward. So this is something, council members, that I've shared with all of the departments and will continue to share until we get every single employee of Richland County aware. When we talk about this synergistic communication, here are the things that we're asking to make sure that we've done. Have all the key stakeholders impacted by the decision been included and informed throughout the process? You all know that that's something that you've talked to us about that we need to continue to get better at. Can we keep people engaged throughout the process, not just at the end or only at the beginning? Has the matter been voted on by council? And then what was actually decided? A lot of us have the desire to serve citizens, and sometimes we take on matters that haven't been voted on by council, or that the decision that was voted on is different from what we're acting on. So how can we be better? Again, we can focus on what's actual and not what is perceived. Has the proposed decision been financially accounted for in the budget or capital improvement program that was approved by council? And that just goes back to aligning the budget initiatives with the budget dollars. And that's how we reduce conflict with each other and with residents and citizens who are looking for county funds. And then ultimately, are we dealing with an essential service? Are we dealing with something that we're being more efficient or more effective in? These are things that we're wanting our employees and our employee groups to better understand. And then last but not least, as I get ready to wrap up, I want to show you, just as a matter of perspective, with all the other things we were doing from July 15, 2019, up until the day, look at all the other things that were going on side by side. And so when I was at a, several months ago now, a Leadership South Carolina event, the South Carolina Emergency Management Division put this big screen up on the board. And they showed all of the disasters that had affected our local counties. And so I said, oh my goodness, when you're in it, you don't realize all the time how much you've been going through it. But I just want to show you from a different prism, all of while we were doing those other things, those other successes that you talked about in the different parts of Richland County, we were also trying to help people recover from various disasters that we were experiencing. And so that was just a real eye-opening thing for me, so I thought I would share with you all here on this morning. We can do multiple things at the same time and do them successfully, and I think this reflects that. So to wrap up, the state of the county is strong. You've heard me say this before, and I'll say it now. Richland County is resilient. We remain strong, and we remain united. And specifically, we remain united in our purpose, united in our calling, and united in our service to the residents of Richland County. So that concludes my state of the county, and I'm not sure if I left you, time for any questions, but we will, at the next available opportunity, allow you opportunity for some questions. So thank you very much for your attention to that. And so trying to keep on schedule, this next part of our agenda is a legal update. And at this time, I'm going to ask County Council Chair for a motion to go into executive session.
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
English, Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
With that motion being approved, we're going to ask everyone except Richland County Council, the county attorney, to step out right now. This is executive session, and so currently only those individuals should remain in this room. So we anticipate on this lasting no longer than the scheduled time on the agenda. So please be back and ready to start